And welcome back to the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. NFL season is upon us as we continue to dive through division to division and give you our analyzed previews. Hope we prepared this well enough for you. Something we talk about often this division. Obviously, one of my best friends, Mr. Brett Bandick, is a huge New England Patriot fan. And this same week, we're also going to be releasing our NFC East show. We're going to be going live on that East show. Of course, my guy Michael Zappi, huge Cowboy fan, and you guys know who I root for. But we are talking about the AFC East. Very historic division. You've got a team tied for the most Lombardis in the New England Patriots. You have a team whose lone Super Bowl helped usher in the Super Bowl era as we know it, and the NFL as we know it, talking about Broadway Joe's New York Jets. They have not tasted that since then. Miami Dolphins, the only team to go undefeated, and the Buffalo Bills, the only team to go to 4 straight Super Bowls. We're going to start this with the Tenants, as we like to call them in Giant Country, the New York Jets. Finishing 4th in the AFC last year, but they did have some inspirational moments where they won a couple of games against teams that made some runs in the playoffs. Key losses. Mecca Becton's season-ending injury. This kid has no damn luck. Very sad. Zappy, who did they replace him with today? I saw that they addressed that.
So, they signed Orlando Brown for a 2-year deal.
Dwayne Brown.
Sorry, thank you. Dwayne Brown.
Orlando was the dude that almost killed a referee.
Yeah, long time ago.
With good reason. Ahmad Sauce Gardner, I do believe, is going to be a day one starter. He's going to be a star. He's going to give Jet fans that Revis Island feel in time. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson, I got mixed feelings on how good that pick was, but I am very high on Jermaine Johnson out of FSU. These were their draft moves. Robert Saleh entering his second season. The guys played hard for him last year, and their quarterback missed a decent chunk of that. They were playing quarterback carousel, but the Jets play hard. I got to say that. They were very competitive last year in a lot of games against superior talent. I like what they are doing, the way that they are going about building this team. Of course, Becton is a huge loss. Hopefully, for their sake, Brown pans out. Defensively, they are a young, aggressive unit, and they are gradually getting better. On offense, I'm still not sold on some of the skill positions, but I do like what they're doing with the offensive line. I do like what they're doing with the running game. It's hard to make a pure judgment on second-year starter who he was in the Twitter feeds a lot. If you want to elaborate on any of that, I don't even know if we want to, but maybe you do.
All right, we're talking about his mom's best friend.
Yeah, no. Okay, listen. You can stop blowing sunshine up the Jets' freaking ass for number one. They're still the Jets. They're going to come out last in the freaking division. Like, quit giving them all this praise. They're the Jets.
Well,
They're
Brett,
the freaking Jets. They're the Jersey Jets. They are the other New York Giants. Okay?
with all due respect, your team.
There's no respect for the Jets. I don't care. Stop it. They're finishing last in the freaking division.
Just like the rest.
Enough.
Then things changed.
Have things changed the past, 12, 13 years with the Jets?
Well, I mean, the Jets did knock off of one of the greatest teams in Patriot history. That being the 2010 Pats.
Like I said, that was 12 years ago. That was 12 years ago.
Indeed.
Ever since Rex Ryan left, Darrelle Revis, all that shit, has anything changed? No. They're still the freaking Jets.
How many Jet games did you watch last year?
So I don't need to watch the Jets games. I don't need to. Enough. Can we stop praising them and say, "Oh, I like where they're going. Oh, I like what they're doing. Oh, I like the offensive line." Ugh. They're the fucking Jets.
All right, I'm picking the Jets to go 7-10, a respectable 7.
7 wins.
Yes, sir.
Oh my god.
Oh my God! I haven't even spoken about the Jets
What?
yet either.
They won 5 last year with all the issues.
7 games. Oh
They
my.
won.
Oh come
They
on.
went 4-13.
There you go, Tappy. Thank you.
What
7
are you-
games. 7.
All right.
7-10.
So, Brett, I agree with Richie on everything he has said, and I'm going to add on to some of the things he said. For one, it is the Jets, but there's something that Robert Saleh brings to the team.
Thank you, sir.
That discipline he brings to the team is something they have not had since what?
Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan.
Yeah, Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan.
Since Rex Ryan, and we're going. So you were going back in history, and you're talking about the last 12 years. That's a huge difference. They haven't had the Rex Ryan. Now they have Robert Saleh, who is a very similar coach, and he's also a player's coach. Then I'm very high in Garrett Wilson. That's one receiver I wanted Dallas to trade up for. So while you're still on the fence about him, and the way I look at it is the direction the NFL has gone, I think Garrett Wilson is bound to shine in the NFL. But the one
about the other one.
I'll get there. And then we get Breece Hall, who was arguably the best running back in last year's draft. He's going to go off for a rookie. He's going to be a damn good rookie, which leads me to Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson looked bad a lot more than he looked good.
This is on or off the field?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
But on the field, I mean, the guy with the talent he had around him, you got to take that into consideration. He actually did not look bad. Now throwing CJ Uzomah from the Bengals, that's a guy that he's going to be able to check the ball down to a lot of times, and he's going to need to. You still have Elijah Moore there.
Corey Davis.
Corey
Davis is still there.
Yes, they lost Mekhi Becton for
have
the
a
year.
bad roster.
They have a great roster. They
Brett
have a
might be
coach.
right that they're going to finish in 4th, but
They'll
7th
definitely finish.
finish
No, they're definitely.
with a second-year start is
I don't see
definitely.
them. I don't see them having 7 win, boys. 7 wins, that's too much.
So the way I have this division is a lot tighter than people think. I think 1st and 2nd separate themselves from 3rd and 4th, but 3rd and 4th will be battling, and 1st and 2nd will be battling. That's the way I look at that division. So I think it could literally be a difference of 1 game between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So and I agree. I think 7 and 10. I would not be surprised 8 or 9. I wouldn't. Hey, we got to face it. The direction this Jets team is going, yes. If we're talking about this year, no, they're not. They're not ready for a playoff run. But if we're talking about next year or the years moving forward, this team is primed to go on a run.
But that's the thing. We're not talking about next year. We're not talking about the year after. We're talking about this year.
Well, you talked about 12 years ago also. So, I mean,
yeah, but we're talking predictions here for this season. So I don't see them. No.
I have them finishing in 4th place as well, but I have them finishing at 7 and 10, possibly 8 and 9, which actually shows a lot of respect towards the AFC East that your 4th place finisher is 7 and 10 team. That's not a bad thing.
I see the Bills separating themselves from everyone else in this division. I'm going to speak on them in a little bit. I have the Bills. I'll tell you about their record, but they're going to be distancing themselves from everybody else. As far as 2, 3, and 4 go, I agree with Zappy in the sense that I think they're all going to be very tight. Speaking of tight and being very close the last couple of years, this team has had a lot of interesting stuff go on in the past year. I'm talking about the Miami Dolphins, finishing 3rd last year in the AFC East. 2 wins over the Pats. 2 losses to the Bills. Head coach Brian Flores is out. New coach Mike McDaniel in. And a couple of interesting free agent acquisitions. Raheem Mostert who has struggled being healthy, but when healthy is still a very good running back and top 5 receiver in fantasy and in just general, talking about Tyreek Hill. Tua Tagovailoa, definitely an important season for his overall development. Jalen Waddle, who's entering his sophomore year, definitely going to feed off of what Mr. Hill brings, and the same that Hill is going to feed off of what Waddle brings. I don't necessarily believe that Tua has to beat you with his arm to necessarily beat you. This team has a very good defense also, by the way, led by Xavier Howard. I like the head coaching decision. I'm not necessarily saying I like that they fired Flores, but what I am saying is I like who they replaced him with. I believe that this is a team that's going to be knocking on the door for the playoffs. I'm not 100% sure if they get in. They might be very close yet again. But I am going to go 10-7 for these Miami Dolphins with a second place finish.
So I am once again 100% on board with everything you just said. Believe it or not, I know it's crazy. Miami, I don't necessarily think that it's going to have to be Tua that carries them. No. I think the hiring of Mike McDaniel.
Yes, very innovative mind.
Oh, my God. I mean, you have him. And then if you look at the receiving core last year compared to this year, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Cedric Wilson.
Yes.
Who can do a lot. Tua's going to have a breakout year. Most quarterbacks have their breakout year their third year. Let's not forget about that. And then also let's remember, a lot of the way you finish the previous season carries over into the next season. Man, do you guys remember?
He finished very strong.
How did Miami start last year?
His lone loss in the second half was to the Tennessee Titans, who were ultimately the 1 seed. That was the game that eliminated them. Then they respond the next week in a pride game against a Patriot team who was starting most of their guys. And they won another game against the Patriots, following up their week 1 victory against them. Earlier in the year, I should say. And the point is, the Dolphins, in my opinion, and a lot needs to be figured, but I like their roster better than New England's. I do. I think they're deeper on defense. I think they have a better offensive line. And I also think that they have a comparable running game. Not a better running game necessarily, but a comparable running game. Obviously, you have the greatest coach of this generation in New England. We're going to speak on them shortly. But you have a very innovative mind over in Miami.
And you're better at the skill position.
No, last year, when I think about New England, what was their Waterloo? What was their issue? Nobody could stretch the field for Mac Jones. Nobody. The defense would get tired. And ultimately, when they played against teams that you had to go shot for shot with, that was their undoing. And, you know, Buffalo runs this division these days. I like the Dolphins for a second. I'm going to say a second place finish and an early exit from the playoffs. They will fall victim to the Indianapolis Colts in Lucas Oil Stadium.
I'm right there with you every step of the way.
They're the 7th seed. This is your 7th seed right here.
I have also had them finishing 10-7.
That's awesome.
And it's just, I know it's crazy, but you know everything you said about them. That's why I think they're a team to watch out for. 10-7, 100%.
But they're going to get swept by Buffalo. I will say that Buffalo's going to sweep them again.
They will. And
Buffalo's lone loss is going to be to New England in the division because of the familiarity. I'm going to give New England a split on that.
It'll be close.
That I will. I'll give New England a split.
But yeah, I think they're going to be such a fun team to watch when you have the 2 fastest receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Tua has been in camp. He's been showing it. He's been showing things that people haven't seen from him. Yeah. this is the second place, 10-7. I wouldn't be surprised if they're 11-6, but no matter what, they are in second place ahead of the New England Patriots.
That's my 7 seed. And if this was an NFC situation, 10-7, I'd say maybe get them the 5 or the 6, maybe. In the AFC, given the depth, and then you got that AFC West division that's super loaded, Dolphins sneak in at 10-7 because of virtue of their sweep of the New England Patriots. They're going to sweep the Pats. Which,
right.
Brett,
Okay.
I know you're bursting over there.
Dead to fucking stop. I stopped listening 6 minutes ago. This is some bullshit. You're picking Miami second place. I'm losing my fucking mind. Okay. Granted, they have a solid defense. They added Tyreek. They added a new, head coach. I like the transition from San Fran into Miami. I think it's great for that offense. But you still have Tua running the freaking offense. I've been busting this guy's chops ever since he came in the league, and he has not proved me wrong. He's still he's not there yet. He's not there. Stop.
The way
Zappy,
the Dolphins finished off the season.
I let you guys finish. Let me go.
All right.
Okay. This whole 10 wins bullshit, not happening.
They won 10 games less.
They're coming in third place this year, behind the Pats. I'd say a solid 8, possibly 9. I'll give them 9. I'll give them 9 wins.
So 10-7.
I will give them 9 wins. I will give them 9 wins. Pats are still going to come out with 10 wins. I'm giving Pats 10 wins.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, you're waiting. I waited.
I'm waiting.
I cannot. No, you're putting too much confidence in Tua. Too much. Both of you guys. You are putting way too much freaking confidence
He
in
can
this
go
guy.
underneath all day, and you got mismatches and speed galore with Hill and with Waddle. Not to mention Mike Gesicki, who didn't even.
Yeah, Gesicki over in the middle.
The best tight end in that division.
Gesicki benefits so much from that.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
That ain't Hunter Henry.
He's the best tight end in that division.
It ain't Hunter Henry.
It's not Jonnu Smith. It's not Hunter Henry. No.
And it's not Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox has the best quarterback.
There's a lot of good division. There's a lot of good tight ends in that division. I wouldn't say he's the best one.
He is the best one.
I don't know.
CJ Uzomah, who's off that injury.
That's a bold statement.
No, it's the truth.
I don't know about that one.
And the track record speaks for it. He's more consistent than those other guys. Hunter Henry did have a nice touchdown high last year, but that's because the Pats had nobody else to fucking throw to.
This is a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah.
Passing quarterback league. Tua is not the freaking guy.
But let me ask you a question.
Get over it.
Who do you trust more? A guy like McDaniel calling the plays? Or who the fuck is your OC after McDaniel's left? You think that's not going to set back?
I don't give a shit. I'd rather have Mac and Cheese throwing the ball than freaking Tua.
But to who? Who's he throwing the ball to?
I don't. He's throwing the ball.
Parker,
the ex-Dolphin. He's throwing the ball to. The ex-Dolphin.
Because he's
Kendrick Bourne.
Because he's washed.
Who's washed?
Parker.
No, he's not.
That's why the Dolphins got rid of his bum ass. They were
They got rid of him because they were bringing Tyreek over.
Last point I want to make on the Dolphins. Sorry,
Both
Zeppy.
teams. No, let me say this. Both teams finished 10-7 last year.
That's right.
Both of them finished 10-7.
Dolphins were 9-8. Dolphins were 9-8.
They were 10-7.
They were 9-8. They were 9-8.
No.
Okay. So 9-8.
They were 9-8 last year.
Well, I apologize. 9-8.
6 of those 8 losses were without Tua, though.
Without Tua. And how did they both finish the year?
One was
leaving it at that.
Surging, and the other one was dying.
And then you look at the free agent moves. Miami made all the right moves. Yes,
I got to say that. And I'm not used to saying that. I kind of agree with you. I honestly do.
Brett, you're talking about the quarterbacks in this. You're so used to having Tom Brady over all these years that you forgot about the real world of the NFL. And that's not me. I'm just saying, you're saying don't put so much on Tua. You're putting a lot on Mac Jones, who at the second half of the season didn't look that great.
He didn't have to. He still came up with 10 wins because his defense was a top 10 defense.
But Brett.
He threw 3 passes in the Buffalo game and still won.
How did you improve your team on offense this offseason? That's my question. Here,
Devontae Parker.
And that's
your one answer?
That's all I got right now.
You know what? Here.
That's all they got, too.
This is what I think of Devontae Parker. And Richie will vouch for this because he corrected me on it. When we were talking about the Miami Dolphins the other day, we were talking about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, and I was like, oh, shit. And I forgot that that's going to open the ball up or open it up for Devontae Parker even more. And that's after they add Tyreek Hill. So I'm talking about Devontae Parker being their 4th option. And now you're talking that his addition to the New England Patriots as your number 1 receiver is going to all of a sudden make Mac Jones that much better. He's a deep threat.
He's a deep threat.
God, I can't even talk to you anymore.
You don't have to.
With the secondaries
Mr. fucking Tua.
With the secondaries in the AFC East, I'm willing to go as far as saying that with the re-loss of Gilmore went to Indy. They lost J.C. Jackson. They bring in Jabril Peppers, a player who I respect, but he has his limitations.
And he's not a quarterback.
McCourty retired. You can make an argument that the New England Patriots might have the least talented secondary in that division now, with what Buffalo has, with what Miami has, and yes, with what the fucking Jets have with Sauce Gardner.
Fuck out of here, Sauce Gardner.
It's right.
Sauce. I mean, come on, Sauce Gardner.
Let me get into the
break. Give me a fucking break.
Finishing 3rd in the wild card round. Excuse me. I was giving my prediction. I forgot to say that they finished 2nd. Let me correct that. They did finish 2nd last year in the AFC East. Oh, 32nd now. I'm not trolling you, Brett. Just typing. Okay, just want to make sure I corrected that. They did finish 2nd in the East, lost in a 3rd game against the Bills. They were able to win 1 of the 3. Devontae Parker is an addition. Yes, he is a deep threat. No, I don't think that at this juncture of his career, he's going to be able to beat number 1 corners on a consistent basis. I will say this. I do think New England has an advantage over many teams in the sense that they do have 2 quality tight ends. I do think Hunter Henry is very underrated. I will give him that. Jonnu Smith, still kind of a hit or miss, trying to figure out where his career trajectory is going. What does New England do better than most in this division? They run the ball well. They run the ball very well. I will give you that. I do tend to agree with that, and that does help open the play action pass for Mac Jones. But I will say this. With the loss of Josh McDaniels, that's not just any coordinator. That's a premier coordinator. He is currently the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I do believe that the offense takes – I don't know – necessarily takes a step back. Mac Jones is going to take a step back this year before he maybe takes another step forward. I do think that is a big loss. Josh McDaniels is not an easy guy to replace. It was proven. That's why the Patriots brought him back when he failed as the head coach of Denver. Now McDaniels has more time in the league. I think he'll do good in his 2nd head coaching stint. Patriots, defense is going to keep him in a lot of games. Matthew Judon is a fucking beast. But I'll be honest. When I look at the roster, I think you can make an argument that they're the 4th most talented roster. But I'm going to put them ahead of the Jets on one sheer thing, coaching. And they do have the Jets number, and they've had the Jets number for quite some time. I have the New England Patriots going 9-8, a very respectable 9-8. They're going to have a few losses in there that cost them the playoffs, and I do believe that sweep at the hands of Miami, possibly getting swept by Buffalo. I kind of have this vibe that New England is going to split with Buffalo, but I don't think it's enough. I'm going 9-8 for the Patriots, finishing either 8th or 9th in the conference, probably 8th, just missing the playoffs.
So I don't know if I should go next or if I should let Brett go next. I kind of want to let him go last since this is his team.
No, go ahead, Zappy. Go ahead.
But at the same time, I could also jump back in after.
So angry right now.
I know. That's why.
This is really good theater.
Go ahead, Zach.
Want to light him up. Richie, we agree again.
What the fuck, dude? Three? Not with the record. The same record?
Yes, 9-8 as well. I had Miami 10-7.
So you got So I got Jets 7-10. You got Jets 7-10. Miami 10-7. You got wow.
And I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win.
So the Jets are 2 games behind.
Yep.
Second and 3 games behind third. That's where we're looking at this.
I look at everything the Patriots have done. Let's take it to the quarterback position first. We're talking about Tua. We're talking about Mac Jones. Coming out of college, it was made known that Mac Jones was the most NFL-ready quarterback, that he was a quarterback that can go out there and lead the right team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Check. He did that. However, that's his ceiling. He hasn't really blown us away at the NFL level to make us think that, yeah, he can be that quarterback that turns into a Patrick Mahomes. He's a game manager. That's what he is. Which is nothing's bad about that. But now we bring up Tua. Tua has made leaps and bounds, a lot of progression.
And I will say this about Mac. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I got to say this about Mac. Tom Brady was a game manager early on in his career. So before I totally pass judgment on Mac's ceiling, what I will say is this. They've got to give him more offensive weaponry to get the most out of him. And they have not done that. And that is one of the biggest reasons why I think this Patriot team is going to barely miss the playoffs. Their defense could still be elite, but they don't have enough on offense to give that defense a break. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, and you're right, but that's always been their MO.
But I can't pin that on Mac because they haven't done a lot for him on that side of the ball. Not yet, anyway.
Right, yeah. Well, you're only helping out the argument. I mean, the Patriots have not gone out and spent money. They did last year. They brought in 2 very good tight ends. Mm-hmm. They brought in some other defensive players. I mean, they
struck out with Aguilar. Aguilar, they struck out with him. They thought that was lightning in a bottle kind of acquisition. It didn't work out.
I look at the Patriots as the team that is just – they didn't do anything to get better.
They're kind of the same team.
They're kind of the same team. Defensively, I mean, Matthew Judon is nice. Don't get me wrong, but
he's very good.
They need some more.
That secondary is going to be hurting this year.
That's losing J.C. Jackson is such a huge loss.
Then they bring back Gilmore to let him walk. I would have kept Gilmore and see if you get that second burst out of him. Gilmore's going to help out Indy. I'll tell you that.
No,
Peppers going to have a good year. That I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think
Peppers is going to have a good year.
I think one of the biggest bright spots for the Patriots is going to be Stevenson. I think he's going to have a blowout year.
So you think he's the man? You think he takes over the carry load?
I think Damian Harris gets traded by the deadline.
Really? That's interesting.
That's my bold one.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think Damian, because Ramondre Stevenson, the guy, I mean, in the opportunities he had last year, Damian Harris is coming up a little closer to that contract. They're not exactly the team they're not going to win a Super Bowl.
And
making the playoffs.
And the train of thought with Bill Belichick, if he thinks that he can get more out of less money and less salary, he's going to do it 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I think Damian Harris is gone, because when you really do look at that roster, he would technically be the next guy that's going to ask for the big payday.
He's a good running back. They both are.
A very good running back.
I do kind of favor Stevenson to a level, though, because to your point, he does have a higher ceiling. I mean, time will tell. Bretsky, I think we're done rapping on your team. What are your thoughts, bud?
I've already said my thoughts.
All right, so he's got
10-7. 10-7, second in the division.
All right.
So pretty much it's all, we all view it the same way. However, all 3 of us have 10-7 for second place. All 3 of us have 9-8 for third place. Brett's got the Jets winning 3 games. You and I both have them winning 7 games.
Much better than 3.
So I think Brett let emotions get the best of him.
To take my Homer hat off, and I'm being honest, just to show you that I'm not. This isn't like a Brett troll job. I actually think that while I don't know who's going to win more games between the Jets and Giants this year, I'm going to say that right now, at this very moment, the Jets have a more talented team than the Giants. And I do think that they might win more games than the Giants this year, just to show you that I'm taking my Homer hat right off, being honest. Let's move it over. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I agree. But in 2 years, when Brian Dable's in his second year.
And then we got some money to throw.
Yeah, that's
Daniel Jones, if he has a good year, yeah, maybe give him a short extension, maybe not. But the Giants are going to have some salary space. That's part of the reason why they let guys like Jabril Peppers and Logan Ryan and James Bradbury go. It wasn't because they weren't producing. Well, in Logan Ryan's case, I think he was he's coming off a bad year. But, we'll see. Being in Tampa could revitalize him. Whew. Buffalo Bills won the AFC East last year, were it not for a very poor non-attempt at a squib kick. I do believe they would have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs in that very classic game. That playoff game was actually the motivation for changing the overtime rules in the playoffs.
That was one of the best football games I've ever seen in my life.
I have to agree. Undeniably. The best game of last year's playoffs. And last year had some good ones.
Yeah.
Additions. You got linebacker Von Miller, 2-time Super Bowl winning Von Miller. It's hard to believe that Von Miller was above Denver Bronco last year. It seems like another lifetime ago. Tight end O.J. Howard, a Super Bowl ring recipient. He was injured last year with the Tampa Bay Bucks, but he got himself a ring. Now, we got some draft day acquisitions that I kind of dig. Running back James Cook, who ultimately will take the lead spot in that backfield because they currently don't have a guy that's like the defiant number one. I guess you kind of lean towards Singletary for now. Khair Alam doesn't have the same notoriety as some of the top tier corners in this draft, but I believe that he fits perfectly into what the Bills like to do. Their key loss, and just to show you that I'm being fair, while the Buffalo Bills have a much better situation happening right now than the New England Patriots in terms of offensive weaponry, I do think the loss of Brian Dable is going to hurt them to a level. How bad, I don't know. This is a team that's going to be competing for a Super Bowl. But I do believe that loss does hurt Josh Allen to a level because whenever you lose a coach, I mean, it happened to the great Brett Favre whenever he lost the hot coordinator. It happened to a lot of very good quarterbacks. It happened to Tom Brady when he first got divorced with McDaniels. It happens. Do I think it's enough to prevent them from winning the AFC? Time will tell. But I've got this team going 13-4 as the 1 seed. The road will go through Orchard Park in the playoffs. I have a little bit of a wild card that I'm going to throw into that mix. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are going to win the AFC. There's this team in Indianapolis that likes to run the ball. And I think the 49ers proved last year that in that kind of weather, and then Patriots proved it too, you can use the elements against the home team. If there's something that Buffalo misses still, I'm not 100% sure that they can push you around in the running game. Now, granted, you have a running quarterback. Let me rephrase that. You have a premier passing quarterback that can run the football. That's Josh Allen. But they do not have that knockout guy in the backfield just yet. It could be Cook down the road. That is one weakness that Buffalo – because the thing is, no matter how great a quarterback Josh Allen is, you become one-dimensional when you throw that rock too much. And I do believe that when the weather gets worse in Buffalo, a team like Indy who can run the ball, that has a guy who, as Idris would say in Matt Ryan, is not soft in the head. I think Indy and Buffalo are your AFC finalists, and it's way early. A lot could happen, but I think Indy is going to beat Buffalo in Buffalo and win the AFC. We shall see. Buffalo is so damn talented. Quite frankly, they might be the most talented team in the league. Von Miller, what he brings to that defense is going to be something special. And if they do get over the top, he's going to be a huge reason why. I think this team's very close. They could win it all this year, but I got them dying in the title game.
They've been very close the past 3 years. I think
last year, I wouldn't have them close 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Well, the meltdown against Houston.
They lost the AFC division round last year, and the AFC championship 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what it is? That game
They've
was so
been there.
That it
They've
felt
been
like
there.
Yeah, you're right.
They're. I'll be honest, dude. I'm a Pats fan, but I'm also a football fan. You know, there's nothing more. It's like watching the Cubs win the World Series.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to see Buffalo go. I want to see them doing their thing. I want to see Western New York win an NFL championship. It's the way that I am. You know, but they're this close, man. They're this close. And they have the squad to do it.
I just think that those Colts are going to be so dangerous too. And the thing is, I mean, like I said, anything can happen. I just got this weird feeling that we're going to see Brady and Ryan 2.0, the rematch of the most epic Super Bowl comeback. I kind of got that vibe.
It might be possible. I don't know. I'm not making a Super Bowl prediction yet. I'm not doing it. I'm not feeling it yet.
That's my way too early one, Tampa and Indy.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it yet. But I think Buffalo is they're primed for it. They really are. They have the squad to do it. They have the quarterback to do it. You know, it's all going to come down to a matter of one or two plays to get them through that over the hump.
And the reason why I allude to Indy again, they have recent history with these guys. 2 years ago with Phillip Rivers, were it not for a couple of bad plays, they beat Buffalo in Buffalo. And last year, they pushed them around in Buffalo and kicked their fucking ass with Carson Wentz. I'm not saying Wentz was the reason. They ran the ball down their throats. But the one thing about Buffalo that still concerns me, they had a losing record against teams with winning records last year. The Steelers beat them. Your guys beat them once in the regular season. I do believe they did defeat the Chiefs in the regular season, lost in the playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they had a rough go. As I alluded to, the Colts pushed them around. They had a rough go. They lost to Tampa as well. They had a rough go against the better teams in the NFL. And they also lost to Tennessee. They did notch up a decent record. Could have been better. I believe they were just 10-7. A lot of people feel they should have been 13-4. They weren't. This year, I'm giving them the record. I'm giving them 13-4.
Yeah.
But they gotta win that. You know, the road running through Buffalo is going to be very advantageous for them because of the kind of fans they have.
Oh, I think it's the way it should go this year. I think they're due. They're primed for it. It's time.
I mean, shit. A Buffalo versus Tom Brady Super Bowl would be interesting in its own right. Very much so. I'm sticking with my pick for now. And, you know, injuries can change that pick. Indy, Tampa for now. And
so
we'll see how that evolves.
So, all right, Rich, we're going to have to take a shot after this because we have agreed on everything, records, including records. Buffalo 13-4. When you look at them from top to bottom, it's really hard to find a weakness in that team.
I tried.
One of the
running game.
Yeah, you know, you talk about
the running game and the run defense.
Well, yeah, but you know, you look at
defense still at them.
Zach Moss was supposed to be that guy last year. He wasn't.
He was not.
James Cook
could be.
I think he's going to be, and I think he will be that difference.
By the time the year ends, you got him being the lead carry guy.
I have him being the lead running back. The reason being is because the way you can utilize Devin Singletary He's a great catching running back. You put him in the slot, whatever. He's very versatile. James Cook, line him up in the backfield. Line him up, either go I formation. Let's go back to the old school football if it's a cold game again, or continue to rely on our line of block, and you give the ball to James Cook this time, who has better field vision as well. So I'm not saying he's going to be just as good as his brother, but I believe he's going to be a damn good running back. One of the things that plagued that team last year was, while they did have the number one defense in the NFL, you would think the number one defense was also a top 5, even top 3 at getting to the quarterback. And they weren't. I believe they finished 10th or 11th last year.
Which isn't bad, but not
But that's what hurt them in the playoffs. They couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes. They could not. So it was back and forth. And like Josh Allen said, if they would have been the team receiving the ball, they win that game.
More than likely.
So the addition of Von Miller to that defense.
Or if they squib the fucking kick, they'd win that game.
Squib it too. But if the addition of Von Miller, I believe, helps that team so much and getting to the quarterback. But the one thing that I'm really looking forward to is Gabriel Davis. The guy blew up in the playoffs. It almost seems like he's ready to have that.
He's a legitimate number 2 now. And
he is.
Let me tell you, man, when you get that rapport with your quarterback, you don't necessarily have to be the best receiver on the team to be the most trusted. And don't get me wrong, Diggs and Allen got a great thing going. And, Dawson Knox, he missed some time last year, and that definitely stymied some of their shit. He's a good tight end. And watch out that O.J. Howard.
Yeah, definitely.
O.J. Howard's very talented. It's just a matter of the man.
I think O.J. Howard is there for primarily blocking purposes. I think, roll out, whatever the case may be. I think he'll be there to, set things up. But I think he's primarily doing the whole Gronk thing, late in his career.
Yeah, very well could be.
I mean, it could be. I have a funny feeling that
he's a good blocker.
You're gonna see those 3 tight end sets where I do think O.J. Howard's gonna eat a little bit, because Dawson Knox is not a secret anymore. O.J. Howard, a little under the radar, super talented, very talented, but he's had his injury issues in Tampa. Got himself a ring. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's pretty cool. You got to play with Brady. Now you get to play with Allen. Not a bad deal.
It's not a bad deal, man. And then also, you look at who's going to blow up for their defense. I would say look at Greg Russo.
Miami.
Bringing in Von Miller is only going to help him out, because he faced a lot of double teams last year. Now he's not going to have to face those double teams. He might have himself a hell of a good year. You could see him easily getting 12, 14 sacks.
So do you agree with me still, though, that all these great things we said about this very talented team, that somehow, some way, we still – I mean, it's early as shit. We might change our minds as the year progresses. That Indy is going to be the team that fucks up this beautiful dream of Buffalo.
We have agreed on everything. Everything. 13-4, number 1 seed. I've already told everyone I believe the Colts would be the number 2 seed.
As do I, yes.
And
I got them like 12-5. I think I said on the South Show. I think it was 12-5.
And then you look at Matt Ryan. He's played in Atlanta for the last however many years. Too long. He played at Boston College before that.
That's another storyline. Matt Ryan versus Julio Jones.
No kidding.
I didn't even think about that. But I'm thinking Brady and Ryan.
I have them for my too early Super Bowl pick. I have Buffalo finally getting it. I have them finally not getting the Super Bowl victory, but getting to the Super Bowl.
Getting to the bowl. So you got them losing to Tampa.
I got them losing to Tampa.
Oh, that's not a bad pick. I mean, dude, those 2 great teams. I'll kind of our North show will be airing on the 17th, but I'll kind of give a little teaser. I've got the Green Bay Packers because I said on a previous show that there's a team that owns the Rams. That team's the Green Bay Packers. It's not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But in turn, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers own the Green Bay Packers. So I got the Packers losing in Tampa in the title game. But for the first time in a long time, this is going to be one of those title game losses where Green Bay doesn't feel bad. And the reason why is because given the trade of Devontae Adams and the influx of young talent, I think a lot of football people and even the Green Bay faithful, because they're very patient and very loyal fans, they're going to see it as an overachievement, whereas the last couple of years, losing while having a home field might not be received the same way. I think Green Bay, with that 1-2 punch of Dillon and Jones, going to do a damn good job. I just don't think they're going to have enough to beat Tampa, especially in Florida. But I do think Green Bay is going to be the team that ends the Rams' reign, because I believe last year that they would have beat them. Maybe this year they'll prove me right, but I don't think they're beating Tampa.
So to answer your question, Brett, from an episode we aired, you asked me who I thought was going to beat the Rams. I have the Rams losing to the Packers in the divisional round, and I have the Packers making the NFC Championship game and losing to the Buccaneers.
As an overachiever this year, because they're not the darling this year.
They're not. And then I also have the Packers not winning the division this year. I have the Vikings winning the division, and that's why I have the Packers making a deep run, because no longer are they having to do it at home, because we've clearly seen that when they play at home, they are just not the Packers team, because home field advantage has disappeared. But when they're on the road, to a level. But when they're on the road, they are one of the most dangerous teams.
That's actually where me and Zappy disagree. We both have the result kind of going the same way. I picked the Packers to win the North. I don't want to speak too much deeper on that show because it was a really good one, and that's going to be coming out on August 17th for my father's birthday. Got to release it on Dad's birthday. Coming up on 5 years. Coming up on 5 years that my father's been gone, so definitely want to release that.
You guys have agreed on 95% of the shit tonight.
I know, it's disturbing.
And and unfortunately, I have to be, I have to play, devil's advocate here. I don't see Green Bay making the NFC Championship game. I think they'll make playoffs, possibly lose the first round. And if it may be, maybe make the second round, but they're not going past the second round. I don't see them making the NFC Championship game. I don't see it. And I got a pretty good feel for it, but I'm not going to make a Super Bowl judgment now. I can be a football fan and call it as it is and say Buffalo, Tampa, but I don't know. I really don't know yet. I'm shooting shit from the hip. But I don't see Green Bay making the championship game.
You may very well be right. What I like about them this year versus previous years is that I think that they actually got it right on defense, because yes, they had a good defense, but this year I think they're going to have a dominant defense. But ultimately, where I think their dream ends is that the youth factor in that receiving corps that replaced Devontae Adams will be exposed when it matters most. In time, those two receivers that they have currently are going to make people not forget about Devontae Adams, but say, hey, we're good, man. We're fine. Defensively, I love what they did. I really do. I think the Packers are a better football team for the long haul than they were a year ago. An interesting fact that Zappy brought to my attention, Devontae Adams is making less money with the Las Vegas Raiders than what Green Bay offered him.
I know.
No, because I know that you were on a little bit of a Rodgers rant about, he's a selfish prick and that kind of shit.
Well, Rodgers isn't a selfish prick. He is. But no, it had nothing to do with the whole Devontae contract. I mean, he was offered money. He didn't want to stay there.
Yeah, he wanted to play with his guy, and I get that. I get that. And that's part of the reason even you look at Cincinnati. Like, they wanted to appease Joe Burrow. They get his guy Chase in there, where me, personally, from the football mind, I'm like, they need to get Penei Sewell. Because I'm thinking Burrow's knee injury. But it's becoming an ever-growing theme that when you could link up former college teammates, it's happening more and more often than it did in the old days. So, football is a game of habit chasing and habit stealing. So right now, that seems to be what's been happening.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to releasing this show, which will be coming down the pike. And Zappy, I just thought of something. There was absolutely no reason for me to even slightly be concerned about you spilling your guts about the NFC North, or me neither, because I just remembered we're not going live right now. That's the beauty of pre-record, folks.
Well, I'm just basing it on when the videos drop.
Yeah, because this video is going to be dropping after our North preview.
Exactly.
Today doesn't matter what today is.
What last thing about the Packers? Again, I agree with Richie. I think that's how they die, is by the receiver position.
This is a AFC East preview, right?
Yeah. But hold on.
We covered
Right?
we covered
I
divisions.
thought we were doing AFC East. Is it
We did.
Oh, we're doing-
We already did that.
Oh, yeah,
Unless you want to talk about that Vortex offense.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
Hey,
Keep talking.
let's go back.
I'm gonna grab
You
another
want to
fucking
talk some
beer.
more about Devontae Parker?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab another fucking beer.
No, but like I said, yeah.
I love getting Brett flustered. He's not.
I know, me too.
Right, good
I
stuff.
know. Hey, the fact that we agreed on everything with this division without even planning this whatsoever like that.
Fucking dickbags.
He's so angry. Oh, let's share a story with the viewing audience since we're more or less done talking about these topics. There was a big sandwich made many years ago in the living room of the late, great Matthew Sear. Roommates of Matthew were myself and Mr. Bandick. I'm assuming he's pissing outside his garage. I don't see him right now. Zappy, do you want to elaborate on this awesome sandwich that you had?
No. I'm going to let Brett elaborate on it. And then I'm going to let him talk about where I ended up sleeping after I enjoyed that beautiful sandwich.
It's assuming he comes back. You don't think he outed himself because he was really mad at us over the show, right?
I mean, he's probably thinking to himself that how the fuck do these guys have this team? Oh, hey, Brett, what's up, man?
Hey, pal. Listen, there was a sandwich that was made. Hayden City era, living room of the late, great Matthew Sear.
Huh.
I understand that you came to the room to find Shane Diesel kind of knocked out in your bed. Excuse me, Michael Zappi.
No, you had it right the first time.
For those of you who don't know Shane Diesel, I don't know, just look him up. But so Zappy said, we have a few minutes to burn. Do you want to elaborate on this great story of many a cold cut?
You're asking me.
He's so angry about our picks. He's really pissed off with us.
Let me start.
Brett, how much meat did I put in that sandwich?
I don't know, like half a freaking thing of bologna and about 2.5 pounds of ham, about a pound of turkey.
No, you know why he got mad?
4 pieces of bread.
You know why he got mad? Because in those days, Matty was kind of like the general over there, so he delegated little expenditures. Brett, you're the beer guy, and Brett, you're the food guy, and this and that. So fucking Brett was usually the cold cut guy. So you came. I'm assuming this was after backstage or some shit. I don't even remember, bro. It was many years ago.
We were at backstage first, and then we all went over back to Maddie and Amber's.
Right. Because I lived in the front of the house.
Yeah.
And Brett had that other room. Bro, I don't know. That shit was hilarious, though. Oh, fuck, exactly. And this motherfucker's sleeping on my couch now. You took over the man's room, dude. Shit was, not for nothing. There's a height disparity, to say the least, with you and Bretsky.
I was hungry. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking hungry as shit, and all my freaking cold cuts are gone. And I'm
walking around.
I'm looking.
Myself.
I'm doing one of these.
You were cheering me on, like hell yeah, make that sound.
And there's a plate of breadcrumbs sitting right next to you, next to the couch where you're fucking passed out. I'm like, this motherfucker.
No, dude, he took your bed.
Hmm.
Yeah, he took your bed, bro.
I know.
You were on the couch that night. Then Maddie the next day, and as only Maddie could, was like, "Hey, Reg," right in front of Brett when Brett's hungry and hungover and pissed off. That Zappy's a cool guy, man. We should move him in. I'm getting tired of Brett's shit.
And then I'm like, no, fuck that. Eat all my cold cut.
Motherfucker. Yeah, it's the reason I'm starving today. Reg, take me to the truck stop. Let's do like some briefs. Anyway, good show, guys. Good show. Honestly, I think we all made solid points. I think Zappy and I made more sense when speaking on the New England Patriots because of the sheer fact that I do believe that.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'm sure you did. Yeah. Zappy, I'm gonna buy you a Zappy Patriots jersey.
Yeah,
just because you deserve one.
Spelled differently or pronounced.
Hey, Brett, if you buy me a fucking Bailey Zappi Patriots jersey, I will sport the shit out of that.
I know you would.
I shit you not, because just for the
what number you want?
His number. I'm
number?
I'm riding with Zappy all the way, man.
Number 4?
The team issued on number 4. They used to be Stidman's number.
Yeah, it used to be Stid the Kid.
Yeah. So is there anything in closing you guys want to say about this division, or do you think we kind of smashed everything?
I don't agree with any shit. I don't agree with any of your picks, any of your standings, any of your decision making.
Any of your cuisine choices after 2 a.m. in Haines City?
No. I just think it was, I think you and Zappy went tag team mode. And we're like, oh, I agree. Oh my God, I agree. But you probably talked about this 5 days ago.
Brett, I don't want you to feel bad. There will only be one bad.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that this was kind of a planned attack.
Dude, this was
and I dealt with it.
It was never planned.
I dealt with it. I held in as long as I could, and I'm sorry that I came out the way that I came out with. So I apologize to the fans.
How'd you come out again?
But I kind of don't, because I'm just that kind of guy. If you don't like what I think, fuck off.
I don't know if he's making a point of retracting right now. I think flustered him to the point where he's.
You guys,
you are
can suck your own dick
right now.
I don't agree with any of your predictions. I don't agree with any of your assumptions. I don't agree. There are some points you guys got to cross. I get it. But yeah, if I wanted to be a true mass hole, I would say that the Pats are going to come out in first place in the division, but I'm not that kind of guy. I know it's Buffalo's year. It's Buffalo's division. I'm still picking Pats to have 10 wins. End of story.
I mean, Devontae Parker. I mean, what more can you need?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
He brought a lot of success to Miami. That's why they replaced him with Cedric Wilson. You're over here, a guy that can get behind the defense. I don't know, man. He's the slowest guy if he would have still been on the Dolphins.
These are my deep thoughts with Jack Handy.
No, good thoughts.
Here's my deep thought for you guys.
You're lucky I wasn't drinking bourbon tonight.
Especially for you, Brett. And
otherwise, I would have went off.
Next time, drink bourbon. All right, so Richie has made many points of it about the way the NFL schedule has been designed, especially when it comes to Week 1.
A lot of points.
Week 1. Who do the Patriots play Week 1 and where? They play Miami in Miami, as we are expecting this Miami offense to be pretty explosive. We don't have Jason Jackson. Yeah. Go ahead and pick one to finish first place.
They're going to set the tone early. 2 a time.
2 a time? Get the fuck out of here, 2 a time.
Miami Dolphins.
Dude, I might actually have the Patriots finishing 6-11 now behind the Jets, now that I think about it.
6-11?
I don't know if I'm quite ready to go that far.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. 6-11.
I told you I'd get him.
Look how mad he is, dude.
Oh my God, dude! Like, shit. I know you know your football. You're just saying it just to piss me off.
No, it's working. I don't think that's going to happen, but they are going to miss the playoffs. But they are going to miss the playoffs. That is going to happen, and the Dolphins are going to sweep them again. 40 seconds left, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Guys, thank you so much. I had a great time talking football. I had an even better time pissing off Brett. Until next time, He's my guy, Michael Zappi. He's my guy, Brett Touchdown Bandic. We are out. Until next time, enjoy.